Hi, everyone. In today's Peace and Happiness podcast, we will be talking about self love. And for that, we have one of our previous attendees, Chelsea Moore. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I'm so glad. I love talking about this subject because I think it's something that we think we know what self love is. But when you really delve into it, you don't realize what self love actually means. So, I remember asking you if you join me on the podcast and kind of share. And the goal for me when I do these is I want the audience to be able to maybe have a takeaway for themselves without going to the workshop. That maybe they can, take away like, oh, I never thought of that or I never thought of it that way. We can kind of spread this, right? And so when I asked you, you said that your two big things is that it gave you a lot of self-awareness and that is self-love. And so I want to talk a little bit about the self-love. Can you kind of elaborate for us what you mean by that?
When I say self-love, I mean, like you said, everyone kind of has an idea. I'm no stranger to self-doubt, criticizing everything about myself, to my body, to my personality, to how I speak right now. Like it's constantly on my mind and it always has been. And then I know when I started doing theta sessions, it kind of came up for me a bit. And it's not until I did the Peace and Happiness workshop that I realized why I think like this or how these thoughts are affecting me. I remember we did one exercise, and I don't know if you remember it. It was with the bunny, and you have to draw. I think it's a bunny.
Oh, yes.
And you have to draw
it's a pig.
It's a pig. Okay, I don't know why I thought of bunny, but
yeah,
you have to draw the pig somewhere on the paper, and just the way we picture it. And just the way after you explained everything, I honestly was shocked how I saw myself and how I thought of myself. And
did that exercise resonate with you? Like, was it screaming truth?
Completely. It was truth. And I remember you said something about me or just the pig and how we drew it. It was being pessimistic and always worried about everything and negative, and I try and hide instead of like showing and being all this and confident. I knew I wasn't that, and that showed in my drawing. And I remember I think it was the first exercise, and that was such a shock for me. And I was like, wow, that's literally how I think about myself. And I did it. I think it's been like a year since I've done it, and I've really grown from it. And then
when you say you've really grown from it, can you give us an example?
Obviously, I'm always growing, but I think I've become more confident in my body and my personality and my attitude and just the way I handle situations. I just see myself more happy and confident with me as a person.
I love, because I didn't know what you were going to say, right? So I love that when I said, oh, you talk about self-love, that you went at it from the angle that self-love is how you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, how you talk about yourself, how you think about yourself, your body, how you articulate yourself. Because a lot of times people think self-love is to like, oh, don't keep toxic people around you. And if people, don't support you, cut them off. Or a lot of it like, if it doesn't help me or if it takes any energy from me, I do away with it. Or a lot of people think self-care is self-love. Like, oh, I got my nails done and I always get my facials and I do once a monthly massage, which those are all great. And they are a form of self-love. I would say they fall more under self-care. But that is self-love. I tell people that somebody could write everything you've been through, that has been done to you negatively or that you have done, not your shining moments.
Yeah.
And that they would post them on the front page of the New York Times and that you could not freak out about that. That if you were being told, hey, Chelsea, tomorrow, New York Times front page, they're, posting all your dirty laundry, all your skeletons, and that you could be like, I think I'll stay in and sleep tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that you wouldn't, that you'd be okay with it, that you've come to a point of accepting everything past, everything lived, everything done, and just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
it is just is, you know,
Yeah.
things.
And it's funny you say that. I always like I'll look back at pictures and be like, "Wow, I know in that time I wasn't confident." And I remember how I felt wearing that or just my attitude. I remember and I was so scared and I was just and I'm not saying I'm not now because I'm always growing, but I remember that like time where I'll look at pictures and memories will come up and I'll be like, "Wow, I'm so different." Like
It
it's scary.
Mhm. And that's the thing, you know, like you said, it's not that you're not now.
Uh-huh.
And I remember when I started, uh, this Friday, November 20th, will be my 5th-year anniversary that I took on doing online courses and data sessions and just doing, you know, the workshop and things like that. And I remember when I started, I used to think like, who am I?
Mhm.
And what certifications do I have? And what licensing? And what am I thinking? And no. And I was just being encouraged by a lot of people that had told me, you need to do this for
Yeah.
for many people. And so I kind of listened to that group of people. But once I listened and I started doing these things, I was freaking out. I
Mhm.
still remember my first online course. I was like, this is not working. This is crap. This is, you know, I was just
Yeah.
so hard on myself. And then I think it was like the 4th day of my first online course, and I said, "You know what? I just gotta, like, just
Take it as it is.
just leave it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna grow and develop and just let it be." And as soon as I kinda released that feeling, I
Mhm.
remember all of a sudden I started getting texts and emails. "Oh my gosh, this was so revolutionary. Oh my gosh, I'm transforming." And, like, I got all
Yeah.
this positive feedback, and, I'm so glad that I got to coach myself into a positive state before the feedback,
Mhm.
because we're so dependent without knowing on how people see us,
Yeah.
what people say.
Mhm.
And would you say that the workshop kind of helps us get away from that
I
fixation?
think it did. Even I mean, I when you said that, I already pictured a moment when I was at my school in LA. I remember I joined the honor society and I was secretary. So I would, obviously I would have to go up and announce things or talk about events. And I remember I would be so scared of what people would say of me and just even if like my shirt was like weird, I would just get so nervous and I would just get scared of what people thought and what people were gonna say and if they were gonna judge me. And it's I got to a point where it's kind of like you just can't care about it and you have to just go with it. Um, and I noticed that once I had that mentality, people started gravitating towards me more. And I
Yes,
think
because
that
that can
was
be
the
felt.
biggest like like I was just so like shook because once I started caring, I stopped pushing people away.
Yes, because we unknowingly kinda we don't like ourselves and people pick up on that vibe and they, you know, they might like you, but that vibe, you don't like
Yeah.
yourself. And so
Yeah.
it's kinda throws things off
Yeah.
and people are not attracted to that. Like they don't gravitate towards that. But most definitely, when I started this, like I said, I had so many doubts. And now my only doubt is, can I reach 100 million people?
Mhm.
It's a very but I still doubt myself.
Mhm.
I still doubt myself. Not, but I got better doubts now.
Mhm.
You know, and that's what I tell people. To love ourselves is to go for things of your heart versus how do I look
Yeah.
and how does this seem?
Yeah.
And even recently, I just did a video before this podcast, and I was talking about an incident from this weekend's workshop. And um, long story short, I just last night went down a rabbit hole for like 3 minutes. And then I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have to doubt myself. I have
Mhm.
over 1,000 people that I've helped. Like, why are you even contemplating this thought? So it's really easy for me to catch myself now, like
Mhm.
to be very aware
Mhm.
of what I'm doing. And if it's toxic or it doesn't support me or if it doesn't serve me, I'm able to cut it. So that's something that you also said that the workshop really made you
It just
aware.
made me aware of my thoughts and it made me realize like why am I thinking like this? And then it's easier for me, like you said, it's easier for me to catch them when I do think like that or to stop them. And even if I still feel like that for a little bit, I remember that that's not who I am anymore. I don't think like that. I've grown, I've changed, I've evolved. So I definitely it's helped me to like catch those thoughts and just let them go.
Yeah. And then here's another thing too. Um, do you mind if I say your age?
Of course.
You're 20, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're just coming out of like high school and your
Yeah.
teenage years. You're 20, right? And I've talked to a lot of teenagers and they say, and I can't relate. And
Mhm.
most people 25 or above can't really relate to how hard our teens have it because you guys have social media. You guys are growing up or grew up with social media, all about how you look, how you're
How many
presented,
likes you
how
get,
many likes you
everything
get.
is that.
Are you validated? Are you approved? Are you liked?
Yeah.
And
And
so,
then
did you see a
nowadays,
shift
it's
for
so
that?
easy with the cancel culture and all of that. It's you say one wrong thing, you're canceled. You anything.
Oh, that's harsh.
Everyone's watching you.
That's a lot of
And I'm not
pressure.
even in the spotlight. I can't even imagine someone that would be in the spotlight. So there's definitely negativity, you know.
Yeah. Do you think that from what you learned of the peace and happiness, if more of us learn that would change?
I think so.
Why?
Because I think if you want to love someone, you have to love yourself first. And I think I've taken that into my relationships with my family, with, anyone, with my friendships. You have to love yourself first before you can love anyone.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I'm a little bit blown away because you're so young and that is so powerful. And I'm always teaching that to the extension, the relationship we have with others is simply a reflection of the relationship we have with
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Mhm.
I mean, I really appreciate it. Any last things that would you let me ask you a last question. Would you recommend the workshop as something for
Absolutely. And I highly recommend it. I want to do another one because you've always told me you get something else. So I highly, highly recommend it.
It's so funny. I finished another podcast and I was just sharing with the lady that I always tell people do
Mhm.
2 or 3 because you'll get it from a different space where you are. So thank you so much for
Thank
today.
you
I
so
really appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.
From my heart to yours, you guys have a beautiful day.